There we go. All right. Okay. So, um, today my little presentation is called How to Support Your Partner During Labor. Easy peasy. And as you can see, we have those dots in between our letters for a very good reason, because I'm going to break down the ways that you can support your partner using these letters to make it just a little bit easier for you all to remember. All right. That very first letter, S, we are going to try our very best to create a supportive environment for our partner. We're going to try to master energy. And we're also going to allow them to set the tone. We are not going to try to change their mind about what they're feeling, the sensations that we're feeling. It's really about if they are in the mood to kind of be distracted, then you can help them laugh. You can play music that's going to keep them distracted and calm. We also want to make sure that the environment is free of interruptions, that it's kind of clean and not cluttered, that we have, some good snacks and some things to keep our moms comfortable and nourished and hydrated as they begin to push forth in labor. And music is going to be super duper important because that can actually help to relax and calm that mommy when she's in labor, okay? And sometimes just being with your partner, sitting with them and just letting them know that you are there with them and that they're not alone is going to be something really, really super important to create in that good, supportive environment. The U is going to stand for urine. Y'all are not going to be able to forget that. We want to keep the bladder empty, okay? That's going to help us create more room for our baby to make their way down, right? And help our labor to progress. So we're going to encourage our partner to use the bathroom about every hour, especially if we're keeping hydrated. We want those fluids to go right through the body so that we can use all of that hydration. And even sometimes just being able to sit on the toilet, we all kind of get relaxed once we get on the toilet. That's kind of a space where our body just naturally has learned to relax. So sometimes just sitting on the toilet can help get your partner into a more relaxed and calm state of mind. Position changes is going to be our first letter P. Changing our positions during our labor, all throughout our labor, is really going to help the pelvis to open, right? And it's going to help our baby turn and shift and really like shimmy down into the pelvis the way we really need them to, okay? So we're going to gently suggest our partner find a new position about every 30 to 45 minutes, okay? And that's going to be your job to help them get comfortable into those new positions as we change, right? We're going to be offering our hands. We're going to be offering our strength to support that mom. And if you have a doula, it's even better because your doula is going to be able to really give you some tricks of the trade for some positions that you can use. So we want to make sure that we kind of, you can Google some nice positions, even if you don't have a doula. This is something that you can look up on social media as well. If you are a TikTok or an Instagram person, you can find lots and lots of different ways to change position and keep baby moving and rotating into that pelvis. Our second P is going to be praise. Forgive me, I forgot to put my little note there. But our second is going to be praise. And we want to provide like a ton of verbal support, like a lot, okay? You can never have too much encouragement when you're in labor, okay? It's gonna be more than you think is necessary, okay? Your partner needs to know that you're there for them, that you believe in them, that you're rooting for them, that you're not going to leave their side, and that you are confident in them being able to birth this baby in the way that they would like to, okay? And our studies that we, studies really show that verbal support alone is able to really shorten labor. When you are keeping a mommy in the mindset of encouragement and motivation and momentum, you really, really, really can get that mom to stay mentally focused throughout the labor. Oxygen. Now, this sounds really kind of simple or like common sense to keep breathing during your labor, but what we really want to build is a breathing technique. And that's really going to make a big difference, okay? And the partner is going to help you remember, as the mommy, not to hold your breath. Because if you think about it, when we experience pain, when we experience very intense emotion, sometimes our body wants to tense. And a lot of times that means we are holding our breath as well. And that can really inhibit and kind of slow down our progress. We want to get as much oxygen to our body and to our baby as possible. So we really want to try with long, slow inhales and exhales. And that way, you can not only help remain focused, but you can also help that mommy with getting all that juicy oxygen to the baby and continuing the progress the momentum that you build, okay? And you might have to remind your partner, you might have to remind your mommy, hey, don't hold your breath. We want to get that oxygen down to baby. And what also is really helpful is if you are mimicking that breathing pattern, if you're breathing alongside of mom, that is really a good way to keep her focused, because it's easier for them to focus on you and kind of get out of their head a little bit if you're breathing along with them. That R is going to be rest and relaxation. It's so important to allow time for rest and relaxation. A lot of times we are not shown how important or told how important rest is going to be during your labor, but we want to make sure that we are conserving our energy when we can, and that we are kind of flowing with the way that the labor is flowing and progressing. So if we are noticing that we have some time where our body is able to sleep and rest, by all means, we are going to do that. We are going to, as partners and dads, it's going to be your job to help them find a really comfortable position. That means we're going to get those pillows. We're going to get, if we need a heating pad to kind of relax some of those areas that are feeling tense. We're going to remind our mommy to try to remain loose and tension-free. And that takes sometimes a lot of encouragement, like we mentioned earlier. But we can kind of gauge how tense our mom is feeling, even if she's not showing signs like vocally or physically. We want to check those jaws. Is mommy clenching those jaws? Is mom's shoulders high and kind of hunched up, showing that she's tense and kind of folding into herself? Are we seeing fists balled up every time a contraction comes? Are we seeing eyes and face tighten and squinch up? That's not what we want to encourage. We want to remind our moms of how important it is that our body relax as much as possible, so that we are getting our oxygen and so that we are helping our labor progress. Touch and massage. This is such an amazing tool. Along with your voice, if you are offering really gentle touch, physical touch, there is actually a release of a really special hormone called oxytocin, which is responsible for kind of keeping the pace of your labor going and keeping that labor progressing in a really nice pattern. And lots of endorphins from our body. And that helps labor progress and also reduces pain. So when we have physical touch and massage from someone that we know loves and cares for us, especially if it's your partner, doulas can do an amazing job of that. But when it's someone that you already have a really good connection with, and they are then adding in those encouraging words, adding in that really good and comfortable touch, you can really help this person to progress and kind of take their mind and their focus off the pain and those intense sensations that they might be feeling. It can be as simple as a shoulder rub, a back massage, and even just a really gentle hand massage can be a really good and positive distraction and bring a good sense of like reassurance and that you've got somebody in your corner. So now that we've kind of gone over those practical ways to support our mommies, now let's talk a little bit about how do we know the difference between, you know, those Braxton Hicks or those practice contractions and when it's the real deal. I don't know about you, but we all know somebody who they've gone to the hospital. They thought for sure this was it. And they get there and they're like, no, you probably just need to have some water or lie down or eat a good meal. Here's some good ways for you to kind of determine is this the real deal or not. So one of the first things we're going to look at is the length of the contraction itself. If we are tracking this contraction and we're noticing that they are varying, they have different lengths of time that they're lasting, there's not a real pattern going on, some are short, some are long, they're likely not the real deal yet. What we're looking for is for our length of our contraction to start at about 30 seconds to 70 seconds, a little over a minute. And then you'll notice as you're tracking them that they are going to increase in length and they might start to get up above 90 seconds or longer, okay? Next, we are going to think about the frequency. How often are we having our contractions, okay? With Braxton Hicks or our practice contractions, we're going to feel those sensations like randomly. It's going to be real irregular. Some might come back to back to back, and you're like, yes, this is it. But then you get big space in between. Usually, those are our practice contractions where our body is just getting in the rhythm, getting ready to go into true labor. What we are looking for with steady contractions in actual labor, we are looking at a regular interval of sensation. They are coming. We can kind of begin to gauge when they're going to come, and we can begin to gauge how long they're going to last. We're also going to notice that they're getting closer together over time. There's not big spaces coming and going between them. And so we can kind of gauge that this is the real deal once we have those sensations coming at regular intervals and getting closer for 1 to 2 hours. That's creating a really good pattern, right? So then our third indicator is going to be the intensity. If we are feeling some strong, that stops us in our tracks, and then the next one or the next two, you are, able to talk on the phone or you're still scrolling and laughing on TikTok, and the contractions are not really getting stronger, it's probably not time yet. This is your body getting ready. What we want to see in true labor is our contractions getting stronger, growing in intensity. An hour ago, they were manageable, but now we're noticing that we're having a little bit more trouble talking through them. We can't really laugh at our boyfriend or our partner's jokes like we could an hour or so ago. Like, ain't nothing funny no more. That's really what we're looking for. We're looking also to feel them in our back and our lower abdomen. Sometimes with Braxton Hicks, we are feeling them in the front. We're feeling them on the sides. That's where we're feeling the tightening in our abdomen. But with true contractions, we're getting very, very low abdominal sensations and often very low back sensations. It can even travel into those hips and into the thighs as well. That's real deal. Okay, number 4 is going to be movement. If your contractions stop or they like change in intensity or frequency, if you walk, if you rest, if you change positions, if you eat a little something, if you hydrate yourself, chances are we're talking about Braxton Hicks. A lot of times, a nice position change, sometimes it just be a little gas, if you've been there, you've been there. That might get a little trapped. And so we can really tell if we are changing positions or making any kind of physical change, if the contractions are changing as well, excuse my dog, then likely we're dealing with Braxton Hicks as well. With true labor, we are looking at contractions that are not going to stop no matter what you do. There's no position you could change. You have eaten, you have rested, you have hydrated, and these contractions are still building in intensity. They're still coming more frequently, and they're getting longer. That's when we can tell, okay, looks like we're in the real deal. And our final is symptoms. Are we having no other symptoms with our contractions? Are we simply just feeling these contractions and that's it? No, not really any other changes. We are likely in the lane of Braxton Hicks. Now, if we are noticing some increased vaginal discharge, if we are experiencing diarrhea, our body, we're doing a clean out. The body needs to do a clean out. So we got plenty of room. We might also notice nausea and vomiting. Again, the body just really clearing the way for your baby to make its way. And sometimes just the intensity of the contractions can cause the nausea as well. We might see our mucus plug. We might, the water might break. We might see a gush or a drip. You might get irritable. It's really difficult to stay kind and polite when you are experiencing true labor, and that's why the support of your partner and that encouragement from your partner is going to be so important. Okay, so that's a few ways that we can tell the difference. Also, we want to time our contractions. I don't want you to get too intimidated when we see this, because this is just a nice little graph to show you how we time them. We don't just time how long they last or the length, as you can see, but we also want to time and take note of how often, the frequency. Okay, we're going to note the time that the contraction starts. So that takes communication between our partner and our birthing person, right? Our mom. We want to time those contractions at least 20 minutes before we say, okay, here's the frequency. We want to get a nice pattern going, okay? We want to note what time that contraction starts and ends. We want to note that once contractions are 5 minutes apart, lasting at least 1 whole minute, and this pattern has been going on for at least 1 hour. So that's the 5-1-1 rule. And that's when we know it's time to kind of give the call and say, hey, we're beginning to really pick up. This is really going, this is the real deal. It might be time for us to make our way in. Okay, so that's something we want to keep in mind. Okay, and we do not have to, although it's nice if we are still people that like to write down our contractions, that's awesome. But we also can let our smartphones be smart, and we can download an app that allows you to kind of use it like a stopwatch. You just press a button when the contraction begins, you press the button when it ends. And that makes it very easy on our dads, because you're not running around looking for a piece of paper or something to write with in order to really record these contractions. So we want to make sure that we're taking note of timing, duration, frequency. And lastly, we want to find out, when is it time to call your doula? We know when it's time to call our midwife once we reach that 511. Well, we can call our doula much sooner than that. As you approach your due date, you're going to want to keep in contact with your doula, and you're going to want to let your doula know if you start to experience any of these early labor symptoms. So if we're having cramps, especially in the low back, that feel like menstrual cramps, but sometimes, as we mentioned before, they can travel into the hips, into the legs. If you're experiencing increased Braxton Hicks contractions, maybe you're getting Braxton Hicks contractions 1 or 2 times a week, and the body starts to kind of ramp it up to 3, 4, 5 times per week. We want to let our doula know, hey, the body is getting ready. If we're experiencing nausea, diarrhea, upset stomach, again, in those early in those early stages of labor, our body is going to do a clean out. So that's a good thing to let your doula know. If we are having bloody show or a loss of a mucus plug, for lack of a better description, your mucus plug is going to look like bloody snot, like a thick blood, like a ugh, disgusting. But that is a good sign when we are waiting on a baby. And of course, if you are having consistent contractions, or if you think your water broke, or if you know for sure your water broke, even if you're not in person just yet, we can be texting, we can call, just to keep those lines of communication open. So your doula will know when it's time to meet up with you and head into the hospital and have this wonderful little baby. Okay, so that was just a little bit of info on how we can support our moms and how we can time our contractions and when is the best time to get in touch with our provider and our doula. So I'm so grateful that you all welcomed me here this evening. I hope that you learned a little something from my little presentation. I will now allow my good friend and colleague, Iyanna Bridges of the Birthing Hut, to speak with you all about the importance of fathers and partner support in the postpartum and so forth. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Kieashia. I appreciate you. And thank you for that very informative slide on how our partners and our daddies can help our birthing people when experiencing labor and getting into labor. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly go over how our partners can help us during our fourth trimester, which is going to be our postpartum time. A lot of times, partners feel left out, especially if moms are breastfeeding. They feel as though they are not able to provide as much intimate bonding and quality time with baby or even birth in person. They feel like they are pushed out of the picture, and we no longer want our partners to feel like that. So I'm going to share some slides with y'all on how partners can be included in that recovery phrase. As soon as I go ahead and get this pulled up, excuse me, because my slides are moving slow. Mhm. All right, so I'm getting ready to pull up. Can everybody see my slide?
Not yet. It looks like it says you're started screen sharing, but it didn't come up yet. There it goes. We can see him now.
Okay, good. Okay, as soon as presenter presentation come up, I can show you everything. I apologize for this moving so slow. So as I stated, my name is Iyanna Bridges, and I am the owner and founder of the Birthing Hut. I am a community birth worker and Black birth activist. I have dedicated my career to bridging the gap in maternal health disparities amongst Black women in Pittsburgh, and my efforts have included a range of partnerships and collaborations aimed at improving perinatal health care services for Black women and babies in Allegheny County. The Birthing Hut is a perinatal health community organization that amplifies the Black birthing experience and a voice through educational classes, prenatal and birth support, family and community programs, and postpartum care. So today we will be discussing how support from fathers and partners during the postpartum period is crucial for the well-being of both the mother and the baby. Here are 10 ways fathers and partners can help during this important time. We ask that partners are emotionally available to support their partners. And saying that you are emotionally available to support your partners, you are being attentive and understanding of the emotional changes the mother may be experiencing, offering a listening ear and providing reassurance. This is not the time for you to allow your partners to isolate themselves to what some might consider hibernation after delivery, because we want to be the first person as partners to notice if our partners are experiencing any postpartum mood disorders. A lot of times birthing people will suffer in silence because they do not know how to admit or how to even recognize for themselves if they are not acting what would be considered out of the norm. Being that so many postpartum mood disorders have been normalized, hypervigilance, when you are constantly feeling as though something's going to happen to the baby and you're anxious to be a baby, anxious to be around your baby. Also, it has been normalized for moms to stay up during all hours of the day and night just watching baby. Although those behaviors are not normal, they may be common, and those are definitely going to be signs of any type of mental health mood disorders going on. And we want to make sure that our partners are first to notice such so that they can be able to advise the provider or the doula of such things like this, so that we are preventative or we can catch things early before they escalate further than where we can be able to assist our partners. We also ask that partners be present. Make yourself available and easily accessible for your partner to communicate to come to, or to seek guidance and support from. You want to make sure that you are participating in all care activities. If your partner was going to Lamaze class, preparing for baby, postpartumly, if they have support groups or breastfeeding classes or community classes with doulas, you want to make sure that you are available. You want to make sure that you accompany them, because you do not want them to feel like they are alone or going through this by themselves. You don't want them to have the burden of having to figure out how to carry the car seat, or if they're going to wear the baby, or where they're going to park. These are things that you can easily eliminate from something for your partners to be anxious about or feel overwhelmed with simply just being present physically in the moment. You want to also offer encouragement and affection. Just like Kieashia stated in her presentation, physical touch is definitely important. It is important before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and especially after. Physical touch can attribute to the creation and secretion of oxytocin, endorphins. These are hormones within our body that makes us feel love, that eases our minds. So again, we want to make sure that we are showing our partners that we appreciate them, that we are glad that they went through the experience of giving birth, and that we are here for them. We want to also facilitate bonding time. We want to make sure that mom has time to bond with baby, as well as have personal time to bond with us. We don't want to make the partner feel guilty for bonding with baby. We don't want to make the partner feel guilty for not having enough time for us, but we want to make sure that we are vigilant with mapping out time, creating space, creating room, creating memories and moments that the birthing person will have forever to hold on to as a joyful moment. We want to recognize that the postpartum period can be challenging and emotions may fluctuate. Be patient, flexible, and understanding as both the mother and the baby adjust to new routines. You want to insert yourself in the postpartum phase. Number one, the most important thing that you can do as a partner who is supporting a person that just gave birth is to educate yourself. Learn about postpartum recovery. Learn about common challenges in newborn care. Understand what to expect that allows your partner to provide informational support. Recovery for postpartum can be different depending on the method in which your partner delivered, whether it was a belly birth, a cesarean, or whether it was vaginal, whether they had an epidural, whether there were any methods for inductions. All things can contribute to the different hormonal state or physical state in which your partner has to overcome to recover. And we want to make sure that we are educated on what that process can look like so we can be very genuine and very patient and very gentle in our expectations for what the recovery phase is going to look like for our partner. We don't want to rush them through recovery. We don't want to guilt them for their recovery. We also don't want to cripple our partner for recovery. So in order to make sure that we are not doing those things, we have to educate ourselves. Number two is coordinate support. As a birthing person's partner, you are not looked at to be their sole source of support. You want to help coordinate support from families and friends. This may even involve organizing visits, arranging for additional assistance, or communicating with others to ensure that the mother receives the support she needs. You can coordinate meal plans for your partner. There's meal train apps, so everyone in the family can coordinate what meals they're going to make and when they're going to make it. You can coordinate a drop off or a delivery service that will coordinate family and friends going to pick up groceries, dropping them off, doing laundry, things of that such that will alleviate chores from the typical routine that you would have as a family. Number three is you want to communicate openly, foster open communication. Encourage the mother to express her feelings, concerns, and needs. Discuss expectations and share your own experiences and challenges to strengthen the sense of teamwork. This will also help allow us to be vigilant and allow us to explore where her mental and emotional state is at if we are open with our communication. And a simple conversation where your goal is to listen is how effective communication can happen openly. So just be conscientious of the words that you choose, the tone that you use when talking to your partner, and don't be accusatory. Oh, you're just overreacting, because then again, that's going to place guilt on the birthing person, and you don't want to come off as being pushy or being rude. Another way that you can assist your partner in a postpartum stage is to enroll in a Birth and Hut Daddy Doula program. In our program, we do teach fathers and partners about baby feeding, whether your partner is choosing to bottle feed, formula feed, or exclusively breastfeed. Any type of feeding method is important to make sure that mommy knows no matter what you use to feed baby, it's important that baby eats. That's the only thing that matters. Some moms may feel defeated if milk isn't coming in. Some mothers may feel defeated if it hurts when they breastfeed. We want to eliminate any feelings of guilt. That word keeps coming out because it is important to make sure that mothers don't feel that. So any form of baby feeding with the assistance of the partner and encouragement from the partner is very important. We also go over infant care. Questions as when is the right time to give baby their first bath? Questions about when baby gets a circumcision, how do you care for circumcision? Changing diapers. Questions like those will be addressed and answered. Postpartum recovery. How often do they change pads? How often do we look at the stitches? When should we go back to the physician? These are questions that will be answered. Maternal mental health, baby wearing. Partners can wear babies just as much as mom can wear a baby. How do we get partners prepared to wear baby? Those are things that we will go over, as well as community resources that are available for partners to utilize to get their partner help, as well as to get help from them for themselves. Maternal mental health is not just an issue for the birthing person, but also for the partners. Partners have hormonal changes as well, and they are experiencing a new form of parenthood. And we want to make sure that we don't neglect our fathers and our partners. So it is really important that we seek any additional help for them as well. Yes, Anthony. And conclusion, remember that every family is unique and the level of support needed may vary. Tailor these suggestions to the specific preferences and circumstances of new parents. Being actively involved in supporting during the postpartum period contributes to a healthier and more positive transition for the entire family. So remember to take all of these points into consideration when you are supporting your partner after delivery. And if any questions are had or any advice or suggestions are needed, do not hesitate to reach out to myself or Kieashia. And I am sure that us as doulas within a community can be more than effective in providing you resources. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you so much, Iyanna.
You're welcome, Monet. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. That's okay.
Now, I think me and Kieashia are going to open up the floor for any questions and also for conversation that we can have with the parents and expecting partners that are currently on the call tonight. We would love to answer questions. Victor stated, I do hope a session like this will be held at least twice in a quarter. We could look at making that happen, Victor.
I like that idea. Y'all don't gotta be shy now. We don't bite.
Thank you, Sherelle. She said this has been a great meeting.
Thank you. Sherelle is an eloquent song doula as well.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much. Y'all have been amazing. Thanks so much. I love to see people of color doing this. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Williams. I enjoy doing this. I love being in a space, and I love being more inclusive and exclusive to our people. Jacob, this session was recorded, so I'm pretty sure Monet might be able to provide your access with this. I think it is unfortunate that your wife missed it as well, but I do know that myself, Kieashia, also Sarita with Elephant Song, no, that's Kangaroo Concierge.
Wrong animal.
Wrong animal. And Amber with the Maya organization will also be holding at least, I think, 2-3 more additional sessions regarding maternal health and postpartum support. So hopefully y'all can come to those sessions as well.
And yes, it's the follow up with what Iyanna said. I will send a recording to everyone who attended this meeting. And then so you guys will have that, and I will also copy Miss Kieashia her the information that she put inside the chat. I'll forward that as well into the email. So just opening it up again. If you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat if you don't want to come off mute.
Greg said, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing this information. It was really informative for me since I didn't go through this with our first two kids. Yes, you are more than welcome. So now you come up prepared.
So much knowledge for you. Perfect.
Yes.